This video will probably not make me very many friends, but I don't care. And I make this video as a proud Englishman. But at the beginning of the video, I want to ask a very simple question. Where are the men of England? Where are they? Where were the men of England when up to 1 million of the daughters of England, little vulnerable teenage girls, were being taken by racist rape gangs and raped and abused in the most terrible and heinous ways? Where were the men of England? Where were the men in the media? Where were the human rights lawyers? Where were the people shouting about equality? Where were you? Where were the women's rights activists? Where were the police? Where were the journalists? Where were the social workers? Where were the hard men of England? Where were they when this was going on year after year after year since the 1980s? The racist rape of the daughters of England, up to 1 million of them, has been going on. Men of England, and I say this as an Englishman, where were you? Where were the men of England after the Ariana Grande slaughter of the innocents? When little Saffie Rose was killed, along with all those other girls, and we're not going to even describe the injuries that were inflicted by that evil, wicked, jihadist suicide bomber. Where were the men of England? Getting bumblebee tattoos on their buttocks and making heart shapes with their hands. Men of England, where were you? And I say this as a proud Englishman. Where were the men of England when, after the greatest democratic exercise in history, it became obvious that the establishment were going to betray us, were going to sell us out to the European Union, to a foreign power? Where were the men of England? 500,000 people, 500,000 people turned out on the streets of London, many of them Englishmen, wearing their sandals, their woolly jumpers, and their silly European Union flags. And what were they turning out for? Were they turning out to protect this great nation that their fathers and their forefathers fought for as they wrapped themselves in a foreign flag? No, they were turning out not to protect democracy, but to demonstrate against it. Where are the men of England among the political classes that are traitors to this country and traitors to democracy and traitors to the people of this country? Where were the men of England when veterans, who were the real men of England, veterans who were true Englishmen, who would have given their life for this country, when veterans are getting their doors knocked early in the morning by police officers to investigate them over alleged crimes that took place literally a lifetime ago? Where are the men of England standing up for pensioners who are veterans, who have been betrayed by government after government, and who have been pursued by vicious and insidious police officers whose aim is to drag them through the courts and prosecute them for things that they did when they were little more than children? Where are the men of England today? Well, I believe there are men of England. When I look at PC Keith Palmer, a veteran and a police officer, guarding Parliament when that jihadist maniac in 2017 leapt over the wall after mowing people down on Westminster Bridge and started trying to attack Parliament. And that police officer who was unarmed, think about that. What a scandal that was. Who was unarmed, tried his best to fight that jihadist off, and he gave his life protecting democracy. Think about this. He was one of the men of England, but his cowardly boss sat and cowered in a car within earshots of the screams of one of his colleagues as he was butchered in the grounds of Parliament. There are men of England. I think of my friend Simon Bean, a war hero who fought jihadists in foreign lands. Think of my friend Mike Howell, who gave all his life to service in the military, in the police force. True patriot. We think of all those who truly love this country and are doing their best to turn things round. But the men of England, the true men of England, are sadly now a minority. And that needs to change. And my challenge to the men of England is this. If you're watching this video, get off your sofa. Get out from behind the computer screen. Get out from watching TV. Get out from under your wife's feet. And stand for the country that you claim to love. Stand for it. Fight for it. And protect it. My call today is to the men of England. Today is the day to stand up. And over the next week, there are going to be events in London. There's going to be events at the weekend for the veterans. Then later on the week, we've got a trial of a true Englishman. A man that's been persecuted because he's taken a stand for this country and he's taken a stand for what is right. So those two events, if you can get to one or both of them, please do. The first one's in London, and it's a great gathering of veterans and their supporters. So it's not just for veterans, it's for everybody that supports the veterans and wants to see these prosecutions stop. If you can get to London at the weekend, get to London. And then later on in the week, we've got Tommy's trial on the 4th and 5th of July. Independence Day, eh? There's not much independence or freedom in this country anymore. Men of England, I challenge you to get up and start fighting for our freedoms. Fighting for what is right. And put your boots on the ground and your boots to the ballot box. Wake up, men of England.